Hey, welcome back. In this video we are using a for loop to populate the elements of an array. So getting started, what we should do is we'll define the size of our array as its own integer. So let's say int size, and we'll assign a value. Let's just use 5 for now. And now what we'll do is we'll define the array. So let's make an array of doubles. Double, and we'll give that array a name. We'll call that values. And then here, normally, like last video, we would have specified the size of 5 just like that and called it a day. But for now, we'll write in this variable here, size. So that works just the same way. Now, instead of initializing here, with some values like that, actually that would be, with curly braces, we put in some values, etc. What we're going to do is we're going to use a for loop to fill out those values instead. So we'll type our structure for our for loop, hit enter. Now what we're going to do is for our initial condition, we're going to set this equal to 0. So we'll have another int, our counter, that will be 0. And the reason we set this to 0 is not 1, because our index values for an array start at 0, so by setting this counter to 0 instead of 1 at the beginning, it's going to make things work very well for us. So for our condition, as long as I is less than size, this will ensure that we don't get a bounds error by, you remember we talked in the last video, we never want to call an element in an array that's, so for example, if our size is 5, we never want to call the value 5, we always want to have n minus 1, so this prevents us from having a bounds error. And then when we increment, we'll just go I plus plus. Okay, now for our statements, I guess we can just go something like this. We'll write values, give it for that index I with square brackets, and we'll just put in a 0 for now. And let's go see out values I, like that, and line. All right, so we'll go build around this program, and we should expect to get 5 zeros printing to the screen, and that's what we do at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. What else can we do? Instead of just printing zeros to the screen, because that's kind of boring, why don't we print the index number? So let's print I. So if we go and build and run that, give it a second. All right, so there we go. We got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the reason this is printing the index number is because I started this counter at 0. It's actually printing out with the counter value, but the counter value starts at 0 and goes up by 1 each time. And that's the same as how the index value of an array works, because in an array, the first element, its index value is 0. The second element's index value is 1. The third element's index value is 2, and so on. It's always it's always 1 less than what you think it is. So we should close that. What else can we do? For example, if we started this at 1, this isn't going to print out our index values anymore, because it's printing out integer I, and it's not, it prints 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't even print the 5th one because we're being less than size here in that 5. So that just really screws everything up. So for that example, if you wanted to print the index number, you have to start with a 0 here for your counter. All right, we can do other things too, like we could square the index value and print that to the screen. So let's see what that gets us. When that goes, we get 0, 1, 4, 9, 16. That's because when we square 0, that's 0 times 0 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. Again, right? You would be squaring the index value. So for the 5th element, the index value is 4. 4 squared, 16. There you go. So that's a good introduction to how to fill an array using a for loop. For example, if your array was really big, if you had 100 values or something, you probably don't want to be typing that in by hand, so you would be using a for loop. You can get creative here. You can have users input the value. You can take things with cin and then display those to the screen. So I encourage you to play around with it. But I think we're going to stop there, and I will see you in the next video.